Hi guys, it's Shell, Heart of It All Custom Creations. Welcome back to another video. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Hit that subscribe button to see future videos. I post new videos every Wednesday and Saturday. So today I am doing a Milky Way tumbler using some vinyl and a few mistakes. So let's jump in. So I'm starting out with this gorgeous that gave me cotton candy vibes. It's from Tech Rack Craft. And so I just am going to roll it out. It wants to stay rolled. So I weigh it down with my tumbler so that I can cut off just a little bit. I'm going to use this kind of as a, well, you can see what I'm doing, going at an angle. And this vinyl, like I said, I just seen cotton candy, so I thought, why not make this into a cotton candy Milky Way? So I'm going to go ahead and tape this vinyl down, and then I'm going to draw a line at the top and the bottom to cut off as much as the excess as possible so that I know I have the exact size that I want. So I'm putting it back on just to make sure that it fits, and I do have a little bit more extra at the bottom. So I'm just going to take my scissors and just kind of snip along the bottom to get a little more excess off. And then place it back on again, and I think we're good to go this time. So I'm going to anchor the bottom portion of the vinyl so that I can start to peel back and take that backing off and not move any of my placement. So I'm just going to take that corner, pull back, cut off the excess, and then smooth it back down to make sure that there's no bubbles. There is going to be some, but not very many. So I'm taking my squeegee to do the rest, and then any bubbles that I do see, I'll just use my weeding pen, but there was very, very few. So now I'm going to take some painter's tape and go along the inside of where that vinyl is completely to get a straight line, and this is going to also protect the vinyl when we go to paint. So I'm just cutting it off at the bottom because I will be painting at the bottom, and if any little vinyl shows, that's okay. I'm just slicing it off, and then I know it's completely even. Now it's time to paint. So this is my first fail. I'm just using regular white acrylic paint, and I knew I'd probably need a couple coats of this. So I put a thin coat on and let that dry. And then I go in with a second coat. And it didn't go well. I wanted a white base before I started adding any colors to hopefully help the glitter that we lay down to have a little bit more vibrancy. And so here's fail number 2. This pink that I use is so light and I normally mix it with a darker pink, but I'm using a pastel pink, so I need the pastel. And it just did not want to add any color. And it probably would have taken me a good 3, maybe 4 coats to get it exactly the color that I wanted. So I keep trucking along though. And after this dries, I just knew it wasn't going to work. So before I do that though, I thought, well, maybe if I take a makeup sponge and pounce on the color, it'll deposit more color. And it did work, but it was so splotchy. It was a no-go. So I took it outside and gave it 1 spray of Color Shot spray paint. This is white primer. I got it at Walmart. Yeah. So, so then once that was dry, I'm going to go in with some alcohol inks. And this went so much better. Kind of. The yellow, beautiful. Goes on great. And so I'm just taking those makeup sponges and pouncing those colors on. And then once I'm happy with the coverage on that, I will go into the next color, which I use. All these are, I can't remember the name of it. I do show it, but I end up bringing in another one and taking one away. Well, not really. You'll see. So I'm pouncing on that blue, and that blue is gorgeous. I want to say it's Sky Blue by Let's Resin. That's who it is. Let's Resin. And it's just, and the first color was Wheat. And then the third color I'll use is light pink. And this is where my fail number 3 comes in. It's so light. Absolutely hate it. So, but I go ahead and keep trucking, thinking maybe I can just build up on it. And it does okay if this is the color you're going for. But I still wanted something a little brighter, so I'm showing you, and this ain't until after this I realized I just don't like that pink. So I grab hot pink, and I'm going to add hot pink and the light pink together to actually give me a more vibrant pastel pink that I want, that will work great with the glitter. And this worked finally. So once I get all of that done, and look, so much better. But I am trying to mute it a little bit, just adding the pink, light pink. It's really not going to matter once the glitter's on. So I did leave a strip of white also. So letting that completely dry, and then I'm adding a very thin coat of epoxy all over the painted portion of the tumbler. And I'm going to start with the white. Normally you want to start with your darkest color, but these are all pastel, so it really doesn't matter. And I don't mind that these might travel a little bit into each other. So once I get that epoxy all put onto the painted areas, I'm going to start with this glitter, Oh So Cute by Jessica, called Ice Ice Baby. It's stunning. So I'm adding it into a little medicine cup to help control it a little bit. And I'm just going to put it on that white portion. It will travel down into the other colors just because of the angle that we're going. And yeah, but that's fine. That's perfectly fine. So tap that off. And then the next color I'm going to do is Fairy Tale by the Glitter Heart Co. And I'm going to put that all over the bottom and the pink portion. And because these pastels are really iridescent, that's why I really wanted to have that base color down, and it matches so nicely to our vinyl. So the next color I'm going to use is Buttermilk by the Glitter Heart Co. and place that down all over the yellow portion. And lastly, I am using Daydreamer by the Glitter Heart Co. all over the blue portion. Next, remove the painter's tape off of the vinyl. And this is what we're with so far. I'm going to lay it down on the parchment paper and just roll that glitter down because I am using some chunky. I want to lay down as much as possible to help when it's time to epoxy this. Once I get that done, I let this completely dry, and then I'll give it 2 coats of Rust-Oleum clear spray to lock in that glitter. And then I do give it 2 coats of epoxy as well. And then let that spin, and once that's done, it's time to clean up the rim. So I clean up the rim, and I am going to also sand any pokey bits that are sticking up, just to get a smooth surface for our next step. So I didn't have a whole lot of sanding, but you do want to pay extra attention to down at the bottom of the rim, and especially around that chunky glitter. So then I'm going to take my Dremel and completely clean up the rim because this does have 2 coats of epoxy. I just did them back to back. I didn't do it after the first coat normally, which I do. So I'm using this. And then once I get that completely done, I will take my sanding block and just smooth out that edge all the way around. Now that it's all cleaned up and ready to go, I'm going to stick this on my turner and add a coat of epoxy. Now for the Milky Way part. So the excess epoxy I have left over, I'm putting into a total of 4 separate cups, and I'm going to use mica powder. So this is a pearl white, and I mix that up, and I do add into the white because I want it to be a little bit more white, but with pearl. So that's why I added the mica, and I'm using the alumilite resin dye, and just a smidge, just a little drop. Because there's not a whole lot of epoxy in here, and this stuff goes a long way. So that brightened that up. The next one I'm going to use is a magenta, and I mix that thoroughly. And then the next color I'm going to go in to is it's this blue. I don't know the name of it. I'll have everything listed in the description box. But then the final color I'm going to use is lemon. And as vibrant as these look in the little medicine cups, they don't turn out that vibrant on the tumbler. And you'll see why. So I'm going to start with the white and just take my little, this is technically a coffee stir, and just drizzle over everywhere that you want it to go. And Next, I'm going in with the yellow, and I do just a little bit over that vinyl, and then I try to stick with the color of the matching color, and then move into the magenta, and then finally the blue. And it looks like a hot mess right now, but once I am happy with all of that, pop any bubbles, I will take a gloved finger and lightly move that to make it look more cloud-like, wispy, and just removing some of that color and epoxy. So then anywhere that after I get that done that I usually just dip my finger in and then add or take away. I did add a little bit of the white into the magenta, just to get a couple different dimensions, since the pink seems to have several different dimensions of colors. And I'm trying to pay close attention to not cover the vinyl completely, because you do want to see some of that vinyl, or else we wouldn't have put it on there, or at least I wouldn't have. So I pop the bubbles again, and I'm going to let that spin overnight. This is how we're looking, and now it's time to add the decal. Since it was cotton candy, I figured what better way than to put a cotton candy decal. I got this from FABRICA, and I cut it out in this holographic vinyl, the offset. I created an offset, and then adding that to the tumbler, and then cut out a ton of little pieces to put on top of that. So it does say sweeter than cotton candy, and I just thought this thing was just so cute. So that is what I'm doing here, is going to add each of the individual words and other elements that came with this SVG. I think this is the cutest. Now, I kind of wished in hindsight that I had just used the same vinyl that we did on the tumbler. I'm going to put a coat of the Ccdiy quick coat, 2 more coats of epoxy, and she's done. I am in love with this. This will be available on the website if you are interested, but I appreciate you all watching so much, and give this video a great big thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.